Forrest Radarian, we did it.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm glad that we could actually put this together.
Can you tell the folks the situation that you walked into when we tried this the first time around really quick?
An absolute madhouse of a situation. So Dylan did the 2C on Tussle, right?
Yeah.
And so I live at the South Rim, Grand Canyon National Park. So I agreed to drive down and see him. And right around the time we were about to start the interview, just rip-roaring number of like monsoon storms came through the area. And a lot of the drainage around the South Rim, I should say there is not much drainage. It just kind of gets really muddy. It's that like clay-like soil. So I pull up and I come up to a spot and he's got this great setup. You know, if you're watching this, you can see like this like background. He has everything, all these electronics, and it's just like
thousands of dollars in electronics.
For real, thousands of dollars of electronics and like a little tidal wave of like water just moving down this hill. You like set it up in this perfect like depression where all the water was gathering. I'm sure it was like a great camp spot, but holy crap, it was pretty bad.
I spent some time selecting that spot too. I was driving around. I was like, up here, it's kind of too sunny up here. Yeah. And then I ended up there, dude. And then I started digging a trench because I had the bright idea that maybe I could divert the water.
Dude, he really did. He got on like he pulled out this little shovel, and I felt kind of bad because I was just kind of like standing there being like, you should probably dig in this direction.
You were supervising.
Yeah, I was supervising,
Yeah.
and he literally dug out like a trench for the water, and it was an admirable effort.
Yeah.
I give you an A+.
It worked. Thanks, buddy. It worked for a few minutes.
It was a few minutes, and then it was like, oh shit. Oh, also, is there cursing?
Yeah.
Oh god,
Yeah. You can be whoever you are on my podcast. So then I decided to pull the plug on that situation, and here we are. And you're back in Flagstaff for your training, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So I have my certification as a wilderness first responder. Every 2 years, I need to renew that certification through a certain number of hours. Usually it's a 3-day course. This one is offered through Flagstaff Field Institute. Shout out to them, in partnership with Knowles. Also shout out to them. And I've been doing this particular site's recertification for the past several years since I've lived in Northern Arizona, and they do a fantastic job. And for those who don't know what a wilderness first responder entails, this is basically like some more advanced medical training for the backcountry. Years ago, back in 2015, my wife and I were doing a bike tour from Canada to Mexico. We were like 6 days from the end, and we actually got hit by a car. It was awful, probably the scariest moment of my life. But one of the biggest lessons I walked away from that situation being, and by the way, we were like okay in the end, but the biggest lesson I walked away from that situation with was I had absolutely zero knowledge of what to do in a situation like that. And we had a legit medical emergency situation. And after that, we came back. I was like, I need to look at getting some backcountry training and I guess like medical know-how, and well worth it.
Dude, you're a busy guy. I don't know how you're doing all this and if you're going to be able to maintain all this stuff with your new baby you have.
For real, I've got like a 2.5-month-old. Oh, actually almost 3 months now. So
yeah, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
I mean, so like when I started to look into your website, it is unbelievably comprehensive.
Thank you.
And I want to get into a Fierce Green ride in a little bit and sort of your first round as a race director. But I just have to say, like, kudos to you for putting out all this information. It's so comprehensive. It can almost be overwhelming at first for people that aren't used to that much information. But let me just draw a distinction. So the Gunny Loopy Loop that I just did, there was like zero information. There was like nothing.
I looked it up afterwards. I did see that.
There's like no POIs. There's no nothing. Just there's surface groundwater available pretty much regularly. That's about all you get information-wise, right? And then, you know, I'm starting to plan for a Fierce Green ride, and it's just like it's like, wow, there's a lot to choose from here. So it just like every water source has seasonal availability options on it, and it's just a lot. Your website has Arizona Trail resources. It's got multiple bikepacking routes that you've created.
Definitely.
It's got logs of all your bikepacking trips, and this is your website, Forest Biome.
Yeah, totally like a nerdy play. By the way, I'm a science teacher, everyone.
Okay.
I'm very passionate about being a teacher and education, and I love teaching. I'm a high school science teacher at the Grand Canyon, and so my website's called theforestbiome.com, and it's Forrest like my first name, 2 R's like Forrest Gump, biome, which is, talking about that like particular kind of ecosystem. And so, yeah, it's kind of where the nameplate came from.
Yeah. So check it out. I mean, it's got so much on it, man. And you have like bikepacking recipes on there.
I love eating in the backcountry.
And that's a big, and we can get into that in detail because that's a big challenge, I think, for a lot of people is eating healthy, especially in like racing scenarios. There's like, it doesn't reconcile eating healthy and trying to race. I haven't seen it happen. If someone can show me a template of how to do that.
I always go into trips. My wife and I do a ton of like backcountry trips, and my intention most of the time is to be like, we're going to eat let's try to eat real food on this trip. But inevitably you just hit a point where you're just like, I want another donut.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is okay. Cause you're burning it. When you're riding your bike all day. But before we get into all that, I want to hear about the bat and the rabies.
Oh my gosh.
Tell me what's going on there.
Yeah. So I just finished up a round of, I guess like 4 vaccine, I guess, shots for exposure. This is rabies exposure. So I can't say I had rabies, but I was riding my bike early one morning, back at the beginning of August. It was actually like my 3rd day of school with a new son who's very, very young, like a month or 2 old at this point. I've been trying to figure out ways to get my workouts in. And one of the ways was, I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m. and go get that in before, he wakes up. So again, I live at the Grand Canyon. There is I don't know if I would call it an outbreak or preponderance of cases of bats testing positive or having atypical interactions with humans involving physical contact that would be indicators of rabies. So on the river, there's a protocol that if you, and most people on the river cowboy camp every night. If you wake up and you have a bat on you, or if a bat comes into contact with you, that's a fast way to get an instant evacuation and go to a hospital, because rabies has a certain window in which you could, if you've been exposed, treat it, and then that window begins to close. So I was biking along one morning, and so it's like right at that cusp between dawn and it's still like dark out, and I was just riding out the Hermit's Rest, great road riding route, and came around a corner and I just smacked straight into a bat in my chest. It was not at an like super high speed, something a bat easily could have avoided. And as soon as it happened, I was like, fuck. And I knew exactly what it meant. So I like texted my wife and I was like, hey, when I get back, like make sure I don't I've got to put my clothes in the wash in case there's like saliva on my clothes or anything. We just don't know.
Yeah.
So ended up making my way to Flagstaff Medical Center. And immediately once they heard I had a bat contact, they brought me back to the emergency room and were like, we're going to, fast pace this, and asked me a series of questions. I then ended up having to get, I think it's called an immunoglobulin, maybe butchering that title, even as a science teacher here. So, but immunoglobulin injection around the contact site, which was my upper left pectoral region, like right above my lungs and heart. And Dylan, I hate shots.
Yeah.
That was like, they had to do like multiple rounds of them. And I was like, the whole time. But
Yeah.
once you get exposed like that immunoglobulin dose is something you just have to get once in your life. But then I did have to get, I guess like a booster dose on my arm, and I had to get like 3 additional rounds of those about once every few days. I had to drive from the South Rim, like right after work, up to Flagstaff to the County Human and Health Services Center. And they track all this stuff because there are some large outbreaks happening in northern Arizona. I know you talked to Dana about this. Dana told me there were some concerns at NEU's campus.
Yeah, there's been stuff happening for sure.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, they asked me if I had
But-
the bat. I was like, no way. That thing like flew off. I was on a bike. I just was like, I'm going home now.
So rabies is basically, it's 100% mortality rate after a certain point, right?
I that sounds about right, but I don't know if I can say that with like total confidence. But like I do know there's like a certain point that once you pass it, like you're going downhill fast.
And I think you get hydrophobia. I think you develop a fear of water.
I believe I've heard that. You spike a huge fever.
It's like the closest thing to 28 Days Later, Zombie Land.
Love that movie.
Yeah. Did you see the most recent one?
No, but I want to.
Oh.
I'm a huge zombie fan.
Dude.
Walking Dead, all that stuff.
Yeah. So my cousin actually was an editor on the original 28 Days Later in England.
Oh,
Yeah,
such
dude.
a good movie.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to see that.
Yeah. 28 Days Later is like probably the best classic or more modern zombie movie. It's older now. It could be like maybe considered a classic, but not like the old zombie movies. Anyway, 28 years later, I went and saw it in the theaters.
Was it good?
I loved it. They shot the whole thing on iPhone 15s.
What?
They shot
Wow.
90% of the movie on iPhone 15s. I think it was iPhone 15s. It was like 2 versions ago, whatever the iPhone were at, which is just wild because they had a huge budget. They had like, a $30 million budget or something. And the director, Danny Boyle, opted to shoot on iPhones for a few reasons.
Okay.
One was there are certain artifacts that happen when you're shooting on these iPhones that are like part of the processor or something. And so when you're shooting these action scenes, he intentionally wanted that sort of like semi-grainy kind of like gritty look to it
Yeah. I
that
like
the
it. I
iPhone
dig
generated.
that.
So it was like an artistic decision to do that. And the other reason was he could create these crazy rigs with the iPhones where he could do these do you remember bullet time from The Matrix?
Yes.
The theory of
dude,
bullet yeah.
I was obsessed with that in high school.
Okay. Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
So for folks that don't know, maybe it's where they would string a whole bunch of cameras together and they would shoot an action sequence. And it allowed them to kind of like bring you around like on this huge sort of circular dolly sort of concept. And so he kind of applied that same theory. So Danny Boyle would build these giant rigs and he would have like 25 iPhones on them. And you'd be able to get these like 360-degree shots of like, there was an arrow that would go through one of the zombies' heads and it would like stop. It would stop in the front and then like all the way around to the back, like that bullet time sort of look.
That's sick.
Yeah, and it was really cool, and it was like gritty, and you know how 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, those movies had this like kind of shaky cam, sort of gritty, uncomfortableness to them throughout the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
He kept that. Like that was through and through on the because I don't think he directed the second one, which was 28
Weeks later.
Weeks later, yeah. It was a good movie, but he didn't have his hands on it. And it, yeah, I mean, it was, people are easy to criticize movies, dude, but they're so hard to make a movie that's entertaining these days, And I have a soft spot for practical effects.
Yeah.
Over too many computer generated effects, like especially in horror.
I appreciate that a lot too.
It's so good. Like a movie with practical effects, Nosferatu, which came out recently.
I also want to see that. I've
Okay.
had several students. This definitely has like a high school recommendation with it. They were like, that movie made me vomit or made me want to vomit. And I was like, oh yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it got a lot of negative reviews also, but I don't know, man. Like a good horror movie that shows you less is worth so much more for me now than something that's just like fake looking, you know, like it's just too fake looking. I can't get into it. There's something about not seeing the thing that is the scary. It's like a classic Alfred Hitchcock sort of application of horror movies.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So 28 years later definitely had that. It had a lot of practical stuff. It had a lot of good stuff. Yeah, highly recommend it.
That'll go on my list for sure.
So anyway, rabies.
Rabies.
You know what freaks me out, man? I've talked about this a few times on the podcast is hantavirus.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Do you know anybody who's ever like gotten that or?
Actually, I have two friends, and they work as ornithologists and field biologists in the East. And they had a coworker or friend who several years ago was doing a small mammal study, aka rodents study, in the East. And at that time, I think there was maybe a more casual approach to those signs and symptoms of that disease amongst people in the East. And so he actually contracted it and died.
Yeah.
And they were like, and he actually told the medical staff, according to them, he was like, hey, I work with rodents. Like, I think this might be like hantavirus. And they were like, no, that can't be. And then he did end up dying. We take it very seriously at the canyon. In fact, in our houses, when we get like mice, like it's bleach. We take it super seriously.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's the North Rim, particularly the North Kaibab area and the deer mouse and all those like old cabins out there. I've gone into one of those before and I didn't see the sign. I didn't see like the danger hantavirus sign.
Wait, which one was it?
Dude, it was on the Kaibab 240 route.
Was that by Point Sublime? Knabowitz Tower?
I don't know.
Okay,
I couldn't tell you. It was somewhere south. It was south of Rainbow Rim Trail.
Yep, it has to be that. Or you know what? There's another old hunter cabin in there that's right before you take it's like one way you can go to Crazy Jug and the other way you make your way over to Rainbow Rim. But no, that's north of it. So it's got to be the one by Knabowitz Tower.
And me and a buddy went in there and we didn't see the signs and I didn't really think about it. And it was just covered, dude. Like, am I freaking you out?
Dude, we call those places haunta houses.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
I mean, there was rat shit. There was a bed and a table and a fridge. And there was rat shit. Like a layer of rat shit over everything. Or mouse shit or whatever. Rodent droppings.
No, dude.
And I didn't think about it. And we opened the fridge to see if there was like a dead body in there or something, you know? But we didn't like really disturb anything too much.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't like sweeping and cleaning it out and like really, cause that stuff, if people don't know, hantavirus, it's when you brush it up into the air and then you inhale it, you get this like hantavirus pulmonary syndrome.
Yeah.
That basically your lungs fill with fluid and you like start drowning to death. It's like horrific.
It sounds like a terrible way to go.
Yeah.
Treated very seriously here in the Southwest.
Yeah. And I think it first started over by Four Corners on the Navajo Nation.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what it was. And so it had like 100% mortality rate because nobody knew what was happening and they didn't know how to treat it. And it was horrible. So yes, people still get it occasionally, cleaning their garage. They'll like clean up droppings and not like do the right protocol, which is supposed to be bleach everything with bleach water.
Well, yeah, you go to the CDC website, they'll tell you exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Actually, like I want to say it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, the park sent out, we get like a kind of locals update email and they let us know someone actually contracted hantavirus in the park and they were self-quarantining in their house someplace. So treat that shit seriously.
Yeah. And the thing that I think creeps me out the most about it is the incubation period takes forever. It's like 6 weeks to just start showing symptoms or something. It's like 3 to 8 weeks or something.
It does not show up right away.
Yeah, so you could get it and think you're fine, or just not even know, and then you start getting sick 3 weeks later. That's what Gene Hackman's wife died from.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Their house was a disaster. Because do you remember that story, or did you read about it?
No.
So Gene Hackman had like dementia or something.
Okay.
They lived in New Mexico.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They live on like this property in New Mexico, and I don't know, this was maybe 4 months ago, and it was kind of a horrific scene that was painted at the end. She died from hantavirus, and he basically had dementia and stopped eating because he didn't know what was happening. They had 2 dogs that were in in kennels that ended up starving to death,
Oh my gosh.
and he ended up dying from something, not hantavirus. It was, I think, just exposure or not eating or something. It was horrific, dude. And she was dead and had probably been dead for a week in the house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You're talking like a guy who was on the top of the world at one point in his life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Gene Hackman, like all the movies, all the Westerns he did, all the great films he made, like this guy, and like that's how it ends for him. Like this horrific scene in some dilapidated house in New Mexico with rat droppings everywhere.
Oh man.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, that is. Last summer, I did another ride of my Capes of the Canyon on the North Rim route, and I went out the jump up cabin, and I was the first person in there for the season. And I actually stopped the visitor center midway to be like, "Hey, I'm riding out there. This is open, right?" And jump up's a cabin you can totally rent. It's on reservation.gov and all that, and it's one of the more primitive cabins that the Forest Service manages. So I got out there, and they had just opened it up the day before. But I came in, and I just always get super paranoid about being in low ventilation spaces with rodents and feces because of this reason. And I went in there, and it was obvious someone had just come in and they put new sheets on the beds. They had been closed all winter. It just freshly opened, end of May for the summer season. And I set up everything, and I was like, oh, this is so nice. I'm I've been wanting to camp in this particular cabin for years. Every time I look to do it, it's booked, or it's just an inopportune time. And it's getting right towards dusk. And I just start getting paranoid. And I was I'm just gonna make sure there's no rat feces in here, or rodent feces. And I got down on the floor, and I shined my headlamp underneath, and it was hundreds upon hundreds of pieces of a winter's worth of feces. And I was oh shit. And I got up on the bed. I looked up in the rafters. They were all over the rafter beams. I was nope. I packed all my stuff up. I slept. It was this awesome cabin. And I actually just spent the night camping outside of it in my shelter, because I was honestly just so concerned about that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure other people will go in there and clean it, but I was definitely the first one in there for the summer, and it was, I'm going to guess that was what was going on.
Yeah. Dude, I won't sleep in pit toilets.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a line, that's a bridge too far for me. You know how it's bikepacking race culture to sleep in pit toilets?
Yeah. What's your reason for not sleeping on
It's
that?
fucking disgusting, dude. The smell probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll just sleep outside. Granted, I haven't been super wet and desperate, probably because I pack enough usually
Yeah.
to not put myself in the scenario where I have to sleep on a pit toilet floor. You know what I mean?
Pit toilets.
I'll bring a tarp or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not interested in riding that edge of minimalism.
I'm on board with you, man.
Okay.
200% on board with you.
It's just weird how that's just an acceptable cultural thing in bikepacking.
It's a legendary thing you hear about. I'll never forget that Tour Divide race where I think 3 riders or 2 riders ended up in a porta-john in the Great Divide Basin.
Yeah.
And it was
there was nowhere for them to go.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah. There was no trees. Yeah, it was the top 3 guys. Justinus and Bartholomew's the other guy, not the second place guy. I'm forgetting his first name now. Forgive me. And then there was a third guy in there, and they were all like rotating who got to sit down on the
Oh
seat part.
my gosh.
They were in there.
Like legendary story. And I remember the photo. Legendary.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about a Fear Screen ride. I'm super excited.
Oh, good.
This is your inaugural event as a
Yeah.
race director.
Yeah. I'm going to be like super clear with everyone. Like, this is my first time running an event, and I'm sure I've gotten some great advice from like Dana has offered me a ton of advice, as well as like Henley and Dexter from the Sour race that they just hosted this past spring. I got to ride, and I'm sure I'm going to have a ton to learn when this event happens. But I'm hoping that everyone has a great time. This event's called Fear Screen Ride. It's a little play on Aldo Leopold's kind of legendary description of a Mexican gray wolf that he shot in the White Mountains of eastern Arizona. And as she was dying, he saw this fear screen fire kind of like go out in her eyes, and it like kind of changed him as kind of his land management ethic, his approach to conservation afterward. If you ever read the book Sand County Almanac, there's a famous chapter in there about this encounter. So kind of in honor or respect of kind of that historical aspect to this area, I named the race after that, or I should say Grand Depart after that. The route follows El Lobo Lupus, which is slightly bigger. It's the bikepacking route I've published in the area through Bikepacking Routes. Just the Grand Depart takes out some of the out and backs of some of the fire lookout towers, which are cool, but will honestly be closed in late September, and just kind of minimizes some of the out and backs for riders who are looking to really like crank out the miles quickly.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
How do you know so much about that area?
If you live in Arizona or New Mexico and you have not had a chance to go check out the White Mountains, Blue Range, Gila wilderness kind of area, that it's all ecologically like continuous with each other. These are just like land management designations or local names given. It's a huge swath of kind of high altitude, classic Southwestern, montane and subalpine land that's mountainous and also goes down to deserts, drops off the Mogollon Rim, right between Arizona and New Mexico. And like years ago, one of my best friends, Darren, who lives down in Phoenix, he invited Jana and I to come up with him and camp at Big Lake. And we had never been up to the White Mountains. It's a bit of a drive from like central Phoenix. And we went up for like Labor Day weekend, and I was smitten. I was like, wait, there are wolves in Arizona? What is this? There's like, huge mountains outside of like Flagstaff. These are like the largest mountains in Arizona, well over 11,000 feet, huge subalpine meadows. We went riding. We were actually training for we went back like every Labor Day then to the area for a while. And we actually like did a training right down to the Black River. There's an old gravel grinder race called the Bradshaw Grinder. It was only ever 1 year. It had like I think like a 50% dropout rate in the race. But I remember we were like, let's go to the White Mountains and train for that. And I don't know, it just kept drawing me back. I would go over and over. And the biggest thing was I wanted to see or hear a wolf in the area. I'm a huge fan of wildlife. I'm a science teacher. And the story of the reintroduction of wolves in eastern Arizona and western New Mexico it's an ongoing story. And it's complex. There have been some great successes with this recovery program, experimental, I guess, the technical classification for experimental recovery program. But there's also been a lot of setbacks and challenges. And so when I set out to design this route, I was like, I want to go down every little curve. And if you look at the map, you probably see it's like, whoa, this like loops out and then kind of comes back and loops again. And I was like, I want to go everywhere where like a wolf could be, or like elk, or like bears. There's so much wildlife in the White Mountains.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Grand Depart is September 26th at 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
So this will come out before that. So there's
Ooh.
still time for people to register.
Oh, I urge anyone who wants to come, take a look at the website, and we'll definitely probably post that up someplace. But we got spots open for 40 riders. I think we have like 12 right now.
Okay. So
which I feel good about for an inaugural year. But
yeah, plenty of capacity.
Definitely.
So the route's 411 miles and 34,500 and change of climbing. So it's a substantial amount of climbing.
Big climbs.
Yeah. Is there, I noticed you put different color codings on the Ride with GPS for the different grades of road.
Yeah.
Again, extremely comprehensive.
That was inspiration from someone else, though.
Well, it's first time I've seen it, and I'm sure that'll catch on, because that's one of the biggest questions we get on Pinions is, what kind of bike should I ride?
Yeah.
And because people don't, you can't just look at a map and know. Like, it's so hard to know what that quality of road is going to be. Is it an A Cadillac gravel road, or is it a D gravel road that's an old mining road that you don't even want to touch with a gravel bike?
Absolutely.
And so you kind of color coded the whole thing, and it's awesome. It definitely helps people pick a bike. I'm riding a gravel bike.
Yeah, I think you might be in the minority.
Yeah, it appears that way, but I'm okay with that. I'm willing to gamble on it.
Go for it, man.
I did ride across Arizona on a mountain bike, which I think was also in the minority. Like, I think a lot of people do ride across Arizona on a gravel bike. At least like people that are trying to go fast are doing it on a gravel bike. It was comfortable on a mountain bike with aero bars. I'm glad I did it. I think I could have gone faster on a gravel bike.
Ooh.
But anyway, so this is kind of and we went through a lot of the same. There's some crossover there.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So, and dude, like, I got hit with a blizzard the last day, like right before dropping into the blue.
Oh my gosh.
Fierce Green Ride goes in reverse on the one section that we did on Ride Across Arizona. And I mean, there was this big section where it was just these endless swooping big hills and just amazing, incredible views, spectacular views. And then this storm rolled in, and it was literally blizzard time. And this was in May of this year.
Right on.
And just full blizzard. And then I dropped down into the blue, and it was like sun was out.
Yeah.
Warm, beautiful, like just in an instant it changed, And I think we can expect some of that weather. Maybe not the snow, but like
hopefully not.
There could be rain. We haven't aren't able to see out that far yet, but my one question I had for you was, are there any water crossings where there's going to be no bridges, or that we're going to get our feet wet?
Yeah, there's probably one. It's Water Canyon, ironically named. It's actually that one part. I did an AMA session like a week or so ago, and there's this one connector section that is right after. You get this great view. It's called Point of the Mountain. You get this awesome view of the Springerville volcanic field. And you're kind of on the side of some pavement, and then you jump onto some double track. And then it kind of like degrades into like nothing. And it's kind of an ATV pump track. Be warned, definitely a little hike a bike in that section, but that is not the norm for this route. Most of this route, you should be able to ride just fine. But anyways, you're going to dip down into this, like, I want to call it a creek, but it's more of a stream, which is great. It's water in the Southwest, and it's pretty reliable. And I know that we had to just kind of accept it and like walk through it. I'm sure you could walk upstream a bit, maybe find a more narrow spot to get creative with some rock hopping. And I don't know, maybe it's been dry this year, so it could be a lot lower, might be easier to cross, but there's that. The Blue River, you can just ride across it. They have like a nice, like little paved kind of piece the Forest Service put in there. But beyond those 2 points, I think you should be able to keep your feet dry.
Cool. Yeah. Cause that's coming from the Gunny Loopy Loop. Dude, we went through like waist deep puddles. It was unbelievable. We were like wet and then it got cold, and it was down 30, 35 at night. And I mean, it was just, I'm like still traumatized from the foot cold. It was big adventure, but I went, last night I bought Gore Windstopper over socks and Gore Windstopper over gloves.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I'm so paranoid for a first green ride about just the wind and the cold.
Dude.
Doing 10, 12 miles per hour on the gravel bike, especially when you're ripping down big descents into cold channels and like cold sinks and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And and it's nighttime and it's, 1 a.m. and your blood has left all of your extremities and gone to your core.
Yeah.
I just don't want to have cold feet and hands for 8 hours, 12 hours. You know what I mean? And water, like immediately, if you get your feet wet and then it gets cold, you never get those warm until the sun comes out.
Hell no. Let me ask you something. Do you plan to sleep on your ride? On your attempt of this ride?
So I actually planned it. So when we did the AMA, I was in Gunny Loopy Loop plan mode, and I have a very small brain, and I can only plan one bikepacking event at a time because I hyper focus on it, and I cannot have two in my head at the same time. So at that time, I didn't have anything figured out. But last week, I've had a chance to really like put things on paper and look at miles per hour and start to see the reality of what it could be. And I'm thinking 10 miles per hour average. I can do that. I've done big 250, 300-mile races with similar elevation gain, and I've averaged around 10 miles per hour overall. So that means with any stop time and everything, that's total time. This is 400.
Fast.
This is 400 miles, so 40 hours. So that's doable. Like in my head, that's doable. I just did 40 in the first push of Gunny Loopy Loop, which proved to myself that I could stay up, like I could be moving for that long, right? So I am going to bring an emergency sleep kit. So I'm going to bring a Soul Escape bivy,
Okay.
puffy pants.
Yes.
They make like incredible synthetic puffy pants now.
Yeah.
Enlightened Equipment. They make incredible pants.
They're like Torrid pants or something.
Yeah, the EE Torrids.
Yeah.
They make a Torrid jacket, pants, and then I have the booties too.
Yeah.
And so it's basically like a sleeping bag for my body, right? So I don't have to pack a whole sleeping bag. And a polycro ground sheet. So it's like this plasticky film stuff that it's actually a window film. You can buy it. It's like Frost King window stuff for like $5, but it's the smallest. It's smaller than Tyvek and lighter than Tyvek. So I have that, the bivy, no pad, and then just a few things of warm gear just in case it gets like mid-30s. And that's kind of my emergency sleep kit.
Yeah.
So I could lay down for like an hour and kind of reset if I have to. So that's kind of the plan right now is I'm going to give Dana a run for his money.
Yeah, do it.
Let's be real. Dana's sandbagging. We all know Dana's sandbagging. He's like, oh, I'm out of shape,
That's what he was saying.
You've seen his Strava rides? He's fine. He's fine.
Dana, we'll see you blaze out there for sure.
I just want to make him nervous. So when it comes to logistics for that, it's interesting because I started to look at the logistics and the food carries, and Springerville's the first like big food resupply. And then I'm going to miss Alpine.
Yeah.
Alpine's probably going to be like 11 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night the first time. Because then you come around and you hit like Luna Lake.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's another detour to Alpine if you need it.
If you need it.
But Hannigan Meadow is not too far from there. And I think it'll be daytime by then for Hannigan Meadow.
And hopefully they've got good food. It's like a restaurant.
Is there do they have the ability for me to like call ahead and take something with?
Ooh, I'm not sure about that. Every time I've gone there, it's been purely like, I'm going to sit here and just like enjoy.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I bet if you called them and you're like, listen, I'm going to come through, because I know they have taken boxes for Mogollon Rim trail through hikers, which is like not kind of like official trail out there with like actual tread along the whole length. A lot of it's more of a route, but the route designer, he kind of worked with them to be like, hey, this is like an important drop for through hikers on this route. So I know they've worked with like backcountry adventurers before, and they get a bunch of hunters, and now they're getting a bunch of cyclists and things. So
Yeah.
I bet they'd warm to you being able to kind of check in and do that.
Yeah, hopefully. If not, I'll stop and eat. And then there's one other. I was trying to think of
Big Lake.
Yeah, Big Lake's the
Yeah.
last one.
It's a good
Yeah.
store.
Yeah.
Good choice. Lots of just junk food and some non-junk food. Honestly, it's great.
Yeah. So that's kind of the plan. I mean, dude, I want to enjoy this stuff, but I just have this fire lit up my ass right now this year and next year, and I feel like I'm on a roll, and I need to take it while I can get it.
Do it.
And I'll go back and enjoy it in a couple years.
well, let me ask you this: like, you've obviously done ride across Arizona before, and you've gone through parts of the White Mountains. Have you spent much more time in that area beyond that event?
Yeah, I spent a ton of time in the winter when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my aunt and uncle lived in Pine Top.
Oh,
Yeah, in Lakeside.
okay.
And so I spent a ton of time up there. We would go there for the holidays, and we would go to Sunrise all the time.
Okay.
I have not spent a lot of time in the summer, though. And, I'm excited it's so different than any other part of Arizona.
It really is.
I mean, they call it the Alps of Arizona, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the name, especially the town of Alpine, which is right there on the border between Arizona and New Mexico. They've kind of adopted that as kind of their, I guess, town slogan or insignia in some way.
Yeah. This one time, my dad, we were all, when we were kids, we were outside of Alpine, a ways from it, probably a couple hours from it, somewhere in that area.
Okay.
And we were all riding around. We used to have an old truck with a cab over camper, and my whole
Yeah.
family would go like camping. And this was
Classic.
the 90s, I think, I would say. And so no cell phones, no GPS, no like getting yourself out of any situation
Yeah.
other than getting yourself out of the situation, no calling AAA or whatever. And he blew out a wheel bearing, I remember, on this old truck, and just completely destroyed the wheel, and the truck was not going anywhere.
Oh
and
my
we're
gosh.
in the middle of nowhere down this dirt road, right? And he's just like, well, I guess your sister and you and your mom and my mom, you guys get in the back of the cab over camper, and I don't know, hang out. I'm going to go start walking towards town.
Oh my gosh.
And we're talking like hours by car.
Oh yeah, this is a remote area, everyone.
Yeah. And he's like, I guess I'm just going to go walk and see if I can get help. And we were in the back of that cab over camper for a long time. He might have come back the next day.
Oh my gosh.
And he comes back with this fucking story, man. And he says
Oh, yeah.
that he was walking, and he had only walked for maybe 30 minutes. And this group picked him up. These people picked him up. They said, hey, you need a ride? Where are you going? And he said, I got to go to Alpine. I got to figure out this wheel bearing situation. And they pick him up, and they drive him into Alpine, and they're like, hey, can we buy you lunch? And he's like,
Oh my gosh.
no, you don't need to, but okay.
Yeah.
And they end up at Bear Wallow Cafe or whatever.
Classic.
And they buy him lunch. They're hanging out, He goes to the tiny little auto parts place, which there's not a big auto parts store in Alpine, Arizona.
This is a very small town, everyone. Very rural Arizona.
Yeah. And they just happen to have this wheel bearing that is, semi-rare, or it was unexpected that they had this thing in stock, right? So he gets the wheel bearing, and then I think he stays in a hotel that night and comes back the next morning. I might have messed the story up a little bit, but then he comes back the next morning and ends up changing the wheel bearing on the side of the road. I think the people stayed there overnight also and then drove him back or something like that. They were like the nicest human beings in the world. You know what I mean?
Trail magic.
Yeah, these are like 90s trail magic Arizona people.
Oh, I love it.
And he ended up changing the wheel bearing in the middle of the dirt road there. But
Talent.
yeah, those were the good old days, man. This episode is brought to you by Squirrel's Nut Butter. They make adventure anti-chafe lube and healthy organic restorative skin salve. I don't leave home without it when I go on an adventure. I think it's the best in the business, and I am proud to be an ambassador. So check them out at squirrelsnutbutter.com and use my code ENDURANCE20, all caps, for 20% off. So you did. There's a couple things in the rules that were kind of interesting that I wanted to maybe dig in on.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
So it seems like you, just like most bikepacking races, you cherry picked your rules from other places and took inspiration from other areas.
Big borrow steal.
Yeah. And which is what why reinvent the wheel? You know what I mean? When you can just steal it and use it. But that's what a lot of the base of bikepacking races have all done since time beginning. But there's a couple of rules that I think you put in that I had not seen before. Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
One of them was, I wanted to know where this came from. So be an ambassador for bikepacking in this event. Many of the towns you pass through are small, rural, and may not be familiar with bikepacking culture. Choose not to stealth sleep in public squares, buildings, or spaces without explicit permission. Carry out all trash. Be considerate in restaurants and stores. Expect different political views and always take the high road of civility and conversation. Answer questions from land use and locals with care and consideration. So what compelled you to put this rule in there? Is there,
Oh, for sure. So I think I've not done a ton of racing. I did the Sonoran Ultra Endurance race this past spring, and I had a blast with it.
That starts and ends in Tucson.
Yeah, definitely. And anyone's interested, it's a great March event. So but beyond like racing, my wife and I do a ton of backpacking. We do a ton of bikepacking, and we've met a lot of people over the years. And we've run into many people over the years who have, I'm going to steal this from like backpacking culture, almost like a through hiking snobbery approach to things. They kind of expect local businesses to cater to their whims or desires. They expect to be kind of given privileges. And a lot of these towns, especially in communities that this route passes through that are unfamiliar with maybe bikepacking culture, or, maybe people just showing up on bikes. I want to make sure there's no negative interactions with locals. I want the communities to come away and think to themselves, wow, we just had bikepackers come through. They spent money at our businesses. They were polite. They're bringing awareness to the area, to other people who might want to come out and bike. I want that positive relationship. I want the long-term sense that bikepackers are a positive presence. What I don't want to have happen is for people to show up, leave trash behind, which is just terrible, leave no trace. And I just think awful ethics in general. I don't want people to show up and maybe demand certain things from businesses. And a lot of these businesses, especially in Alpine, they kind of set their own hours. They'll have their hours online, but I've seen them change. And you could show up and be like, oh, it's supposed to be open, but I guess they're not open today. They're mom and pop shops. And if someone were to make a scene or something, that could not be good for future riders on this route. We want to leave it for future riders in the area. That's the political viewpoint is because this route follows El Lobo Lupus, and the point of this route, when I designed it, was to take bikepackers into areas with wolves. I think there's just something magnificent about there being wolves again in Arizona after they were extirpated from the state. But being realistic here, not all communities are welcoming to wolves. And there are ranchers in these areas who do lose cattle to wolves. It does happen. And this is a predator reintroduction and ecology. It's complex, and it takes immense relationship building, politics, lots of public input, science. There's so many different aspects that go into it. But I can say that along parts of the route, if you're like, yeah, I'm out here, I hope to see a wolf, like you'll get locals who are stoked for you. They'll be like, yeah, I've seen wolves before here, or you'll see them here, or I've heard them before. But likewise, you will run into some places where people will probably treat you with a lot of maybe like anger, or like, why would you want to see wolves? Or maybe, even something more intense if you're like, I'm out here to see wolves. So I want to encourage all bikepackers to, hey, take the high road in conversations. Like, you can totally disagree with people with civility. read the situation, but you know, I hope to see these communities positively impacted by the presence of riders in the future.
Yeah.
Does that answer that?
Yeah. Well, dude, I don't want to fucking see wolves.
You're on the wrong route.
That's the last thing I want. Wolves are the only thing in Arizona that really freak me out, dude.
Yeah.
Because they're pack animals, you know? Like, mountain lions, whatever, dude. Like, you know, there's just one of them. They're not like velociraptors, you know, where they flank you.
You know, it's funny. Mountain lions, I have a huge paranoia about sleeping at night in the backcountry. And I spent like hundreds of nights in the backcountry, and it does not matter. As soon as it gets dark, some stupid primitive part of my brain just turns on. I'm sure it kept my ancestors alive in the past.
Oh, yeah.
They were like the people who stayed up all night and survived. But like, it's like 2025, and I'll be like sleeping, and there'll be like other people sleeping in the area. And my brain will just be like, you're going to die tonight. Something's going to tear into the tent. And I'm like, and as soon as dawn comes, I'm like, that was stupid to have that thought. And then I just go through the whole event again the next night. But mountain lions they're the things that freak me out.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They just don't. I mean, okay, they freak me out occasionally. Like, I was doing this 100-mile run thing from Flagstaff to Tucson. I rode, and then I turned around and ran it back 100 miles, and I was kept looking back in the night for the eyes, you know? I was just like, there's something, like, you would get the creepy crawly, something's following me situation, you know?
I'll be clear. I love wildlife. I love mountain lions. It's
Yeah.
just, I don't, want to be stalked by one.
Yeah. I think, so you're more, your spidey sense goes off way more for mountain lions than they do wolves.
Wolves, I would have no issues with. I mean, there's not really like any cases of well-documented cases, I'll say, of like healthy wolves like predating on like humans. You do get like the weird ones where like a wolf is sick or injured and desperate. I remember a couple of years ago there was something in Banff where like a wolf pulled someone out of their tent, but like generally like if it happens, it's like incredibly rare. And especially like here in the Southwest, like they're in such small numbers, and there's so much prey in the White Mountains.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
I'm kind of like, it's going to be a privilege if I see them.
Yeah, I watched The Gray last night, so I was getting him channeling my Liam Neeson.
Yeah, I was about to say it's totally a Liam Neeson movie. Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
Yeah, and The Revenant,
Great movies. What other roles you got here? I'm super curious.
That was a big one. Yeah, I mean that whole part of Arizona. One comment on it is that part of Arizona it's not the city. We're just a bunch of city boys with our Lycra on, showing up in very conservative, very
indeed
heavily religious in a lot of parts of eastern Arizona. There's a lot of Mormon influence there.
Definitely.
And it's like, it's a whole different world, and like the whole, to your point of like the elitism of bikepackers, I definitely see that in bikepack racing.
Or like, I don't want to say like all people fall in that category, but I think there are some people who sometimes carry an attitude of that.
Oh yeah. Well, I've seen it I've seen it in like Tour Divide. I saw it this year in Tour Divide. I won't name any names, but like there's some stuff that happens at the elite level that you're just like, come on. You think you're the center of the fucking universe? Like, these people don't care. Like, you're just blowing in and out with the wind, and they're living their life.
Exactly.
And so some of the stuff is really bad, and it really gives a bad look for people, and when I stopped, like, okay, so in Colorado, I was in this place, the first resupply. There was only one real resupply. Well, two, I guess. Pitkin and Crested Butte. Okay. Yeah. So this was out east of Gunnison, was this town called Pitkin. And it's like extremely fierce side-by-side culture there. It's like backcountry side-by-side culture. Very country sort of situation going on. And we were, way outnumbered.
Oh yeah.
And we needed to be real respectful of, even though, it's a contentious relationship between bike packers, mountain bikers, and side-by-sides. you're in their territory, you know?
Oh, I always have that attitude, actually. I actually like try to be as courteous as possible to ATV users. And I know not every ATV user is like polite. I've definitely been dusted or like stormed by so many times, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I find that people generally will like stop and be like, "Hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
You're like really far out here. How'd you get out? Are you on a bike? Do you need water? Do you need food?" And I love that, because if I did need water and food, I want them to remember that I was super nice.
Yeah.
I want them to take care of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Put it in the karma bank. Yeah. I just thought, it's just really interesting to linger on this wolf thing a little bit, because these ranchers, they've been probably multi-generational ranchers who the wolves were killed off originally because it was a problem for the ranching industry.
Like predator eradication programs. I mean, Aldo Leopold was witness to that and a part of it back, early 1900s, even still through today with certain predators.
Yeah. And so, you have these people who are just trying to live their lives, and what they, maybe from their perspective, is they see like the city politics passing these ordinances or laws and reintroduction programs, because all the people from the city think the wolves are fantastic and, oh, they're so cool to look at. Meanwhile, it's problematic for their livelihood, right?
Definitely can be.
From their perspective.
Yeah, from their perspective,
right?
For sure.
And so that's, I think, if you put yourself in their shoes for a minute, I think that's the takeaway here, is like, you're in their territory and this is a whole different world, and be polite, be respectful, and spend money at the local businesses.
For sure. Like, humanize them, because I think that's just really important. Like, do I love wolves? Yes. If a rancher was like, "Hey, I hate wolves, they've killed my cattle," I can understand how that would make someone feel, a sense of loss and anger and encroachment and a lot of things. Like, humanize them. Like, do I think all wolves should be removed then? Like, no, but can I understand their pain and like be like, okay, we need to find ways to work together through this? Like, absolutely.
Yeah. I saw a Mexican gray wolf up here one time.
What?
Yeah, north of up by Babbitt Ranch, like dropping into Babbitt Ranch.
No way. I know they've been sighted up here north of the 40. Dude, tell me more.
I was on Craters and Cinder Cones.
Okay.
You've been on that route?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
And there's a part where it crosses the 180 here, the 180. And you kind of go through this, you start to drop down into the lowlands of Babbitt.
Okay, yeah.
And it was the morning. Oh. And it was definitely bigger than a coyote. I mean, it was giant. It was like, I couldn't believe what I saw.
Oh,
it
man.
like crossed in front of me in the road, and I was like, wait, what?
Would you feel? Were you like,
disbelief?
Yeah.
Like I wasn't sleep deprived or anything, so I knew I was solid from that point of view. I just, how when you see something and your brain plays tricks on you, you see a squirrel and you think it's bigger or whatever.
Yeah.
I was double checking myself to make sure that indeed it wasn't a coyote. And I kept thinking like, no, that was big, like way big.
Yeah.
And I knew they were kind of in this area. I mean, it could have been a really big coyote. I've seen some big coyotes lately.
I believe it, but I could also believe it's a wolf there. I mean, there've been several cases over the past 3 to 4 years alone where collared Mexican gray wolves have dispersed from the White Mountains. Mm-hmm. And for everyone out there, so this is considered they're endangered, but this is considered an experimental population. This is kind of how you get a lot of locals to buy in. But part of the rules for their kind of, I guess, zone of reintroduction, or where they're allowed to roam, is not north of the 40, even though there's some fantastic habitat from here in Flagstaff all the way to the Grand Canyon. So when wolves get out of that area, Fish and Wildlife generally will return them. But there's been several cases of collared wolves roaming, here, Williams, and around over the last several years. And Fish and Wildlife has left them out there for weeks, kind of, I think, seeing how things go in general. So I believe you.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about coy wolves?
A little bit. Like the hybrids between coyotes and wolves.
Yeah, that kind of freaks me out a little bit because coyotes are so smart, and if they were just a little bit bigger, they'd be really scary. Right?
Yeah, I know I think they're maybe more common in the east.
Yeah. I think they're like viable too. They can reproduce.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that's like something I need to know more about. Oh, that's so fascinating.
Yeah, wolves are
biological species concept.
Yeah, and coyotes, it's living in the Southwest, like I'm from Tucson, so coyotes were just like everywhere. You know?
For sure.
Like it's part of life, but they're ingenuous little things, you know.
They really are.
They're survivors,
Tenacious.
dude. Yeah. So let's go back to a Fierce Green ride. So when did you decide to start a race, like make this a race?
Yeah, so a couple of factors came together for this. So I published several bikepacking routes through Bikepacking Routes over the years, and my wife and I love going out and doing things, and it had been my intention for a while to kind of start an event. I've been shout out to Matt Mason over at the Monumental Loop. He does fantastic work just raising community and getting tons of different levels of bike packers in terms of skills out on his route. And it's just done wonderful things for Las Cruces, I think, with the outdoor community and lots of partnerships. Anyways, big shout out for you. Anyways, I've been inspired by him, and I was like, man, I'd love to just get an event going, but we're teachers, so we get summers and breaks off. So we usually pack them full of like big trips in the backcountry. And we just had a son. And so this past spring, before he was born, I decided to do the Sour race down south. And mid-race, I ran into both Henley and Dex, who were the co-race directors, and they were kind of going out on the route, taking pictures, dressing up like jaguars. Freaking loved it. And they asked me at one point, they were like, hey, man, you should, they're asking me questions about Aloba lupus, and they're like, you should like throw like an event on that route. And I was like, wow, you think people would be interested? And they were like, yeah, we think people would definitely be interested. So they kind of like planted that seed in my head. And with my son coming, I knew that we were going to have to really cut back on our own extensive, like long backcountry adventuring. And I thought, it'd be kind of nice to put on an event for others and kind of give back in a way, right? I've enjoyed other people's routes, other people's events. Why don't I throw an event and invite people to come enjoy it the same? So it's kind of a combination of them and the birth of my son, and just hoping to get more people into the White Mountains on bikes that coalesced together and led to that decision.
That's awesome. Did you have a good time on that Sour route?
Oh, dude, I loved it.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of bikepacking down in southern Arizona. I've done the like Skyline Odyssey 6 times now.
Yeah.
Actually, my wife and I, from like the moment it was published in 2018, we went like every year. It was like not our Labor Day, Veterans Day weekend, like route. We would just perfect time of the year to go. We took our friends on it for their first times bikepacking. And so a lot of that Sour route overlaps with that area. So when I saw it came up and it was perfectly over my spring break for my school as a teacher, I was like, oh yeah, I want to absolutely go out and do this. And I was very honest with Dex and Henley. I was like, gentlemen, I am a slow rider. I'm mostly a touring rider. Is there a place for me on this? And they were like, yeah, man, come on out. And I just loved that they were so open about that. And I'm sure it was slow compared to everyone else. I think like Jeff finished it in like, I don't even know, like 30 hours or something crazy.
Yeah, Kirchhoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did well.
He did very well.
Yeah.
It took me it's over 4 days. That was fast for me, but
yeah,
great route.
Cool. Yeah, it's on my list for next March for sure.
Do it.
Yeah, I'm
beautiful.
I mean, I'm from Sarita, Green Valley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I grew up there, and it goes right through that area. Like Arivaca.
Yeah.
Like Arivaca was the place you could go buy weed brownies before marijuana was legal.
It's such an interesting little town. It's like a little I want to say more maybe like progressive community that's like right there along the border.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, we had like people that I went to high school with these girls who lived in a cave near Arivaca.
What the hell?
They had like a house that was converted from a cave.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
It's kind of like eclectic, hippie.
Yeah.
Almost. There's a couple. There's another town, Bisbee.
Oh yeah, Bisbee's down south for sure.
Yeah. There's another one that I'm thinking of to the west. That's kind of one of these like weird Arizona towns. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I saw this documentary the other day called One Road to Quartzsite.
Okay.
You gotta check it out.
What's it about?
It's about all the people that live in Quartzsite, Arizona,
Okay.
which is west of Phoenix, like on the way to Yuma. I
Yeah,
think.
it's like right along the border with California.
And it's just kind of a straight documentary about the range of people living in that area. So they're all the way from like the snowbirds that have some money, a little bit of money, but they still kind of live like RV life, all the way down to the people that are like drug addicts that are living in the desert, just like squatting out into the desert.
It's a huge community.
Yeah, and it's just a bizarre place, dude. Like, it's bizarre. And that documentary just captures the whole thing. It's on the topic of like weird Arizona towns.
Worthy to visit though. One Road to Quartzsite.
That's the movie,
Yeah.
the documentary. So yeah, check that out. I don't know if I would visit Quartzsite though. I don't know if I'd go there. Maybe passing through it, but I don't know.
Through it. We had some friends who lived at. They lived in a schoolie, which is like a converted school bus, and they stayed in Quartzsite for a winter.
Yeah.
And they said there's some really great parts to that community, and there were some seedier parts to that community.
Totally. It's a whole weird thing going on. And you know, that whole thing is kind of blown up since like really COVID, I think, since like 2020. We saw a lot of it in Sedona, like, and in the forest around Flagstaff, people squatting, huge squatting camps. When I was out on a bike ride the other day, I was out on a training ride. It was the most bizarre dichotomy. You would see a giant encampment of side-by-sides. So you'd have like hundreds of thousands of dollars in trailers and side-by-sides and trucks. You know, like you're talking 12 to 15 trailers all like circled up, right? So like millions of dollars right there.
Yeah, for real millions.
Yeah. Across the road was a homeless encampment where they were living in their vans and they had nothing to their name. They had everything they had to their name was right there. And it's like bizarre that these two things are happening in this. They're both in the forest at the same time for very different reasons in two different types of encampments. You know, it was weird. It's a weird thing that's been happening societally. It's like this, there's no middle class anymore. There's this drift between the really poor and the really rich, you know, generally speaking.
Seems like a strong juxtaposition you saw.
Yeah, for sure. It was weird. So it just, yeah. Anyway, that's a side note.
No.
Quartzsite.
Yeah, Quartzsite. Like,
so that whole area down south, on the Sour Route. Yeah. I've been wanting to hit that. The Sky Islands Odyssey. None of that was a thing when I was a kid, man. It was like quads and Jeeps. That was kind of the only, we would take those out, you know, when I was young.
Yeah.
There was no bike culture. And now there's these huge gravel scenes popping up in
big bike culture.
Patagonia and all around that area, man. It's big.
It's exploded. I know the Arizona Trail Association runs like or they're doing like a fundraiser on behalf, or someone who is at the Patagonia Lumber Company, wherever that bar is. They're huge for cyclists and stuff. They're throwing kind of a fundraiser for the Arizona Trail Association. Soon.
Yeah.
Big culture.
Totally. Cool. Well, let's see. Capes of the Canyons bikepacking route.
Yeah.
That seems interesting.
That is like my passion project. When I first moved to Grand Canyon, I want to be very clear here. I was not the first person to dream of bikepacking around the canyon. There's been several Arizona endurance events, series events in the area for a while, and some smaller routes. And Rainbow Rim is already kind of a famous single track mountain biking area. But so I moved to the canyon back in 2020. It was definitely like a COVID move.
Where'd you move from?
Moved from Phoenix.
Okay.
So my wife and I taught in the Valley for 11 years. And we did the Arizona Trail in 2019. We came back. I needed her school agreed to give her a sabbatical and pay for her health insurance as she came back, which we were like, yes. So she came back to her school, but my situation, I was like, I need to find another teaching job. I taught at the same place for like 8 years and they had filled mine. And so I worked for a year at another school in the Valley, and we really wanted to get out of Phoenix. And so she actually went up. It was the week everything shut down for COVID. Her cousin came in. They drove up to the Grand Canyon, went for a backpacking trip. We're at the bottom of the canyon at some ranger program at Phantom Ranch. And my wife is just awesome at making connections with people instantly. And she starts talking to this older gentleman next to her, and he's like, I'm a teacher. And she's like, I'm a teacher. So, they start talking about education and stuff. And it turns out that he's like, he asked her where she's from. She's like, I'm from the Valley. And she's like, what about you? And he's like, I live here. And she goes, what do you mean? And he's like, there's a school here in the park. And so, she was like, that's incredible. And he was like, yeah, well, we've got some open positions. We need a high school science teacher. And she was like, my husband's a high school science teacher. She like came right back afterwards. I was actually on the Sky Island Odyssey. Right as stuff was closing down. I didn't even know about it till I got back and businesses were closed. But she was like, you got to look this up. So I applied, got the job. We moved up there. And one of the things we kind of went into our decision making was, we wanted to make sure we moved someplace that had fantastic outdoor access. And we didn't know what the biking scene was like at the canyon, right? It's famous for hiking, a world famous backpacking. But we knew there was a bunch of Forest Service lands around, but we didn't know how, amenable it was to cycling. And we got there and it was like a cornucopia of just hundreds, thousands of miles of awesome dirt roads. And a lot of them went out to these remote viewpoints that I would never take. I don't have a car that would go out there. You would need probably a side-by-side on some of these places to go out, or at least a high clearance vehicle. And I just kind of made it a goal to go out and ride to them on my mountain bike. And I started kind of dreaming of piecing all the viewpoints together and making that the point of the bikepacking route. Go out and see the Grand Canyon from viewpoints that people really don't get a chance to see, and have a lot of these roads all to yourself. And that's where Capes of the Canyon was born from.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on the bucket list also. And there's a south section and a north section?
Yeah, and
right?
You can't ride the north section right now.
Right
It's closed
Right.
because of the fire. In fact, my goal next summer is if those lands are open, and right now it's a big unknown when they'll open up again, is to go out and kind of see do I need to move this? Is this salvageable?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
But there's also one in the South Rim.
Right. Cool. Where are you from originally?
I grew up for the most part in Ohio, actually. It's
Okay.
actually where I met my wife. I was born in Colorado. My family moved to Ohio when I was 3 to be closer to family. And I grew up in a small, northeastern Ohio, kind of not fully rural, but probably more rural compared to a lot of bigger cities, town called Louisville. And my family still lives there, and as well as some of my siblings. And so I went to college at Ohio Wesleyan University, and what brought me to Arizona was I ended up doing Teach for America, which is how I got into education. My wife got her degree in education, and so she came out as well. We were just dating at the time. Hated Arizona at first.
Yeah.
Hated it. And then fell madly in love with the state. It is the most amazing state. I'm not dead serious about that. That is just, I love this state so much now. So yeah, grew up in Ohio.
So you've talked a lot about, you're a teacher. How has AI affected, I want to know from boots on the ground, how's AI affected your day-to-day as a teacher?
Gosh, this is such a hot topic in education right now.
Yeah.
I actually just read, I love The Atlantic, for anyone who likes some good deep reading on things on annual issues, monthly issues, I should say. But there's an article recently sent in by a high schooler, wrote a great piece about how AI was changing her high school experience. I am, I'm sure I'm going to get all sorts of people who have all sorts of opinions to say to what I say one way or the other, but like I'm really skeptical that it's going to improve education. I see a lot of the gold rush by companies to sell it to districts for $1 million contracts, big districts. And it just reminds me of a lot of the tech movements that have happened in education over the past few years. I am not anti-tech, to be very clear. I think tech is important, absolutely needs to be in our students' hands to some degree, but it is a tool. And just like any tool out there, you use a tool when the situation calls for that tool. You don't just use the tool whenever you want all the time and then think it's going to make everything great. I have luckily not seen, I want to say, too big of an impact at my school. And not to say it's not there or not coming, but I've definitely heard, especially in bigger cities, a lot of the students just turning in massive amounts of AI generated work, not really walking away with mastery of content and skills. Or my favorite was an article I read about how professors were writing tests and curriculum with AI. Students were answering those same pieces with AI, and then professors using AI to grade it. And it was like kind of a serious story, but kind of like a satirical spin, but also kind of maybe a little bit true there.
Yeah.
About the situation. So right now I've kind of positioned myself to do a lot of in-classroom work and really push out for labs and lab notebooks and give feedback in real time and be present with my students and circulate and work with them one-on-one. And I'm really hoping that's like, I'm really like putting my bets on like that being where the strong impact will be.
Yeah. It seems like, I've been noticing it seems like we're in the golden age of ultra sports in general.
Yeah.
This will tie back together somehow, I
okay,
promise.
I was like, whoa, where's this going? So curious.
Like people are yearning for a human experience.
Yeah.
More and more and more. And it seems like the more AI is infiltrating our everyday life, AI and screens and tech and social media and everything, right? All of it together, right? It seems like people are wanting to break away from it, at least for a weekend, and have like a real raw experience that doesn't include all that stuff, right? I mean, it's the golden age of ultra running for sure. Maybe not ultra bikepacking. There's a lot of races. Like every time I look at track leaders, there's like 5 new things I've never heard of popping up, So maybe it is like a smaller golden age of bikepacking, ultra races or experiences. Definitely with running. Every time I go to the running store, there's a new brand of shoe and a new brand of gels.
Totally agree with that.
Like it's a gold rush. And companies like Resupply, who are just taking over, and they're the leaders on the forefront of building these experiences for people. Every like 100-mile is now selling out. There's like wait lists for 100-mile running races. There's wait lists for
that's pretty incredible.
250-mile running races.
Dude, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's hard.
You have to go into lotteries. And it's like, what's happening here, right? What is this? Why? What is the reason why? Like socially, what's happening here? And, the one thing I can think of is people want a real experience because they're getting fewer and far between in their normal life, right? Our life is infiltrated by advertising and fake things that we don't know are real or fake anymore.
Yeah. For real.
You know what I mean? I don't even know if the majority of the comments that I get on my content that I put out is real. I know that some of them come from real people, right? But
my comments are real.
I feel like
I got you, man.
But there's some stuff on some of the, so I produce like some clickbaity type content sometimes, or not non-podcast content. It's just like, they're like produced videos. And some of the comments I get on those things, I'm just like, I think I've made it because this is a bot responding to me. You know, you've made it on YouTube when the bots are arguing with each other or whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, it feels like people want like to get stripped down to their core of eat, sleep, and move.
Yeah. It's
right?
appealing.
It's so fucking appealing. It's appealing for me. It has been for a long time.
Me. Yeah.
And it's addictive, right?
Oh yeah.
Because it's like what we were designed to do. That's what we were designed to do genetically, right? That's it. Not all this other stuff. This other stuff is like poison. It's like slow poison to us that we're not used to, you know, like I don't feel comfortable interacting on social media a whole lot. And I don't even feel comfortable on in virtual meetings and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Embark Maple. It's just good energy for endurance sports. We've all been there, the dreaded bonk out on trail. And when that happens to me, I take a swig of this 100% organic and tasty maple syrup, and it brings me back to life. I'm so proud to be an ambassador and have them as a podcast sponsor. So check them out at embarkmaple.com and use my promo code EMBARK20 for 20% off. I mean, some people are good at it. Like you and Dana were doing great on the AMA. I was kind of cooked. My brain was a little cooked, I'll be honest, during that. I had a long day at work that day, but...
just because I've had to do it a bunch as a teacher does not mean it's enjoyable ever.
You've probably learned tricks to get by, to get good at it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And I just never learned those tricks. I kind of refuse to learn those tricks. And that's part of the reason why I have this podcast in person. And I make a point to do it in person only. Right?
I respect that, like for real. I respect that a lot, Dylan.
It's hard as far as like coordinating, and you saw what happened last time.
Giant rainstorms taking out hours of work.
Right. Yeah. But it's worth it, you know, for like, again, like a human experience that, yeah, it's so special in bikepacking races too, and running races too. The community and especially Grand Departs. I've done all ITTs this year except for the Loopy Loop was my first Grand Depart.
Yeah.
Every other race was an ITT.
How'd that feel? Grand Depart versus ITTs this year?
ITTs just have totally different vibes.
Yeah.
They're different in their own way. I like them. I like both, but they're very different in their own ways, you know? I get too fucking wound up on Grand Departs, and I talk too much, and that's my secret weapon is to like talk to people when they're trying to race, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they're like, and I'm like,
little social Dylan over here.
Yeah,
I love it. Or strategizing.
Yeah, well, I'm all like jacked up on, you know, adrenaline and dopamine, and I'm like cooking, you know, and just blah 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 blah, talking to people, and they're like, I gotta take a piss, dude, leave me alone.
Dana, beware on a Fear Screen ride. Dylan's coming, gonna talk to you.
Oh, Dana knows, dude. We went to Iceland together for 6 days. He knows the drill.
Well, how do you feel like AI is affecting, like you were kind of mentioning that with the YouTube videos, with like your podcast, like where do you see that as something you're like, hey, this is the future? Or you're like, hey, I'm going to use it occasionally. You're like, I'll shy away from this.
Well, so, the way I've always embraced new technology first. Like I will be the test case for technology. I've always done that for whatever reason. With video production work, I got my degree in video production when I went to college, and I was always like trying new things and on the forefront of being the guinea pig on any kind of new tech to try and figure it out. And so I've fully embraced AI for this project.
Okay. Only
because I don't think I could produce as much as I could without it.
Yeah. How do you use it?
So I use it mostly in post-production.
Okay.
In editing. Like I use it extensively now in editing. So I used to sit in an edit bay for days of my life, weeks, months. That was my job. I was an editor, right? And I just sat in a dark room and I just like edited clips. Like it just was not a very glorious job.
Yeah.
And now here I can, well, let me give you an example. So I'm shooting with one camera on this, right? I run a AI that runs on top of it, and I basically layer the camera into 3 angles. So I'll shoot at a bigger frame rate. So I shoot at 4K and I downsize it to 1080.
Yeah.
And then I take 3 angles. So I zoom in on you. That's one angle. I zoom in on
totally
me,
making a face.
and I keep a wide shot.
Yeah.
And then what I do is I tell AI, I have the 2 shot, I have the Forrest shot, and the Dylan shot.
Okay.
And then what it'll do is it'll analyze our conversation, and it'll automatically make all the cuts as if there was someone here doing a live switcher between the 3 cameras, right?
Oh.
So it simulates a
sick.
3-camera shoot
Yeah.
without having to own 3 cameras or sit there and actually do the switching, which is what you would have to do in a live scenario. You would have a producer that would sit there and like switch between cameras, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do any of that. It just does it in, 5 minutes, right? That's one
Wow.
thing I use it for.
I mean, that is remarkable.
So what it does is it enhances the production, and it makes it more interesting to watch because there's like cuts and close-ups of you when you're speaking and close-ups of me when I'm speaking. It just makes it less stale, right? And I can do that for $20 a month. I just pay for the software that does it, right, automatically in Premiere Pro. Another thing I do is like all the clips that I put out on social media,
Oh, yeah.
that's almost all automatic.
Wow.
Almost all of it. I don't have time to like curate clips from the podcast. And I want to do more and more and more. And I have a full-time job also.
Yeah.
So I'm doing this like, an hour before I go to work and an hour after I get back from work. And so what I'll do is I'll feed the produced video in, and it'll just highlight, 30 different semi-viral or sensational clips, and it'll automatically caption them and automatically do all the zooms and the cuts and everything on them.
Well, okay. So is there anything you wouldn't use? I mean, that sounds like it's very useful.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's been to the benefit of your time, and it sounds economical, $20 a month for that program.
I'd have to pay somebody to do this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And now I can self-produce it all.
So is there anything you would not? You're like, hey, this is something human touch on. And I'm not trying to say you should have something either. I'm more curious.
I mean, some of the writing stuff feels like I'm cheating, and like it feels like it all sort of sounds the same after a while. Like if you have AI write a script for you.
Yeah.
What I did this new thing with a script where I gave it like bullet points, and I sent it in to ChatGPT, and I had it build me an outline, and then I took that back, and then I went and I re-edited all that, and then I put it back in.
Yeah.
And it kind of made it wasn't just like it was like a supplemental tool,
Okay.
right? It wasn't just like, I want this thing to create the script for me, and then I'm just gonna use whatever it puts out, right? So I still felt like I had my own voice inside of that script, right? So it worked pretty well to do that. But sometimes it feels like I'm just like it's losing its humanness.
Yes. I felt that. There's been, trust me, students turn in papers, and they'll think they're so smart and be like, oh yeah, this paper looks real good. And I'll read it. And I'll be like, you used AI to write this. This does not sound like a human being wrote this.
Yeah, you can tell. And you can just tell in lots of things. So I don't know, like I'm definitely embracing it and using it. At work, it's a little different. I mean, I work in printing, so it's a physical media.
Yeah.
So there's like not much threat there, or like, we're going to be able to use it for some things in that industry, but it's not really. It's not like, I reported to marketing for a while, and marketing is like that's where it's scary, because they're creatives, they're graphic designers and writers and content producers, and so there's that's the first thing to be taken by AI basically, or supplemented. So I don't know. For me, it's really been like, good. I guess, because I wouldn't be able to do what I can do if I didn't have it, you know?
No, I respect that. Like,
But
it sounds like the tool to use
yeah.
in the context you need to use it in, honestly.
Well, and I'm still using it to put out human conversations. You know what I mean?
None of this was scripted, everyone.
Yeah.
We're
yeah.
talking raw
Yeah,
here.
We didn't fully
Fucking
just
raw.
Forrest isn't even here. It's just completely generated. So
No, that's like, I think that's very interesting. And I totally respect that, because I think in a situation where you do have to take a look at your time and your money, and you could have something do that. You have a full-time job on the side. This is like a passion project
Right.
of yours.
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, and I don't want to pay I don't want to pay like an entry-level editor or college kid or whatever to just sit in an edit bay. Like I guess like I was paid when I was in college. You know what I mean? I don't know. It changes the landscape. And the way I look at it, honestly, is if you don't get on board, you're going to get left behind. Like it's coming no matter what.
It is coming.
So you better learn how to use it, and you better learn how to accentuate your own talents with it, or you're gonna get left behind.
Yeah.
Because I
can respect that.
I do know of some people that are like super resistant to it, and they're like, don't use it, it's gonna take our job. And that's the wrong mindset.
I agree. You got to get ahead of the curve.
You have to
to some
leverage
degree.
it.
Now, I don't want to sound contradictory to myself earlier when I was like, I'm skeptical of using it in the classroom. I do think there are places in schools to use it. I know that administrators have used it to make like huge schools where you have to fill in rosters for all classes with students. That's just an arduous task.
Right.
AI, do it. Do I think students should learn how to like navigate it in ways? Yes. Do I want my students to use it to generate all of their work? Definitely not. I need them to be able to own the material, think, apply it. And then when it's appropriate, use AI for whatever given context.
Yeah. They're not working that muscle if they just let something else do it.
Oh,
It's like paying someone else to write your paper.
oh, it really
It's
is.
the same thing.
That's
That used to
the
be a
same thing.
big deal when I was in college, was you'd pay people to write papers.
Oh, yeah. And
I was terrible at writing. And so using AI is like, it's kind of a hack for me.
yeah.
But here's the thing, I wouldn't have done it I wouldn't have done this anyway. So it's kind of like a bonus for me. But if I'm a high school student, I need to learn how to write.
Yeah, no, it's so important. And like, I don't know, I've had people be like, well, in the future people won't, necessarily write. I'm like, I want to read stuff that people write in its imperfections. I want to know what someone really thinks.
Yeah.
I want to see the ingenuity. So
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's scary and it's moving fast. Let's do some rapid fire questions.
go for it.
All right.
Boop, boop.
All right. Have you ever seen anything paranormal? Aliens, Bigfoot?
It's so funny. I was just talking to my good friend Sean, who was visiting us this weekend at the canyon, and he and I were talking about how when we were younger, we just both had an affinity for Bigfoot, and we just had this straight desire for like cryptids out there, and how sad we were now to feel like with today's technology, we can just no longer think that perhaps something is out there. So like, have I had a paranormal in my youth? Yes, but now, no, and maybe some magic is gone because of it.
Aw.
So yeah.
No UFOs or anything?
No,
Yeah, man.
nothing. Yeah, sorry.
People that spend a lot of time outdoors, they don't see anything. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, there you go.
Who do you look up to in bikepacking?
Oh man, many people out there. I mean, I feel like there's like a lot of local people I first have like reached out to, and I definitely look up to, like you and Dana with the Pinions and Pines. Like I respect you two so much. Down south with the Sourrut, Dex, and Henley. But then like on the bigger scene, like I've definitely always drawn huge inspiration from the guy like the big people like Alexandra, Lael, like Kurt Refsnyder and Cape Boyle. They've done great things with like bikepacking routes, and I appreciate everything they did to kind of found it and then like kind of move it forward. I enjoy following the bikepacking racers, but I also love watching the YouTubers out there. So like Ryan Van Duzer, oh man, dude, I freak like that is like something my wife will watch and I will watch out. It is like our like pleasure evening, relax, like watch his videos. He's probably like my biggest like inspiration out there. Ryan Van Duzer, you rock.
That's awesome. Yeah, aren't you a contributor for Bikepacking Roots?
I am. I'm a advocacy steward now, which we just had a meeting this week with everyone who's kind of in that program now. A community steward, kind of mixing in that Fear Scream ride, and then I have 4 routes I publish with them as a route steward. So Capes of the Canyon, South Rim, Capes of the Canyon, North Rim, Aloba Lupus, which a Fear Scream ride is based on, and then. I'm sorry, there's 5 routes. Gold to Grand, that's a loop I made over in Gold Butte and Grand Canyon Parashant in Nevada, Arizona, and then also House Rock Rap, which is in House Rock Valley, north of the Colorado River.
Yeah. Dang, dude, you stay busy.
Great organization. Anyone out there, like, donate to them, join them. They're doing great stuff for bikepacking.
Yeah. Nonprofit. What's the worst water source you've ever drank from?
Oh man, I know exactly what it is. Arizona Trail Twin Tanks. If anyone's ever done the Arizona Trail, it's like when we say tank in Arizona, it's just not like a metal necessarily or like plastic cattle trough. This is like a dirt hole that's dug into the ground. And Dylan's laughing because he knows what I'm talking about.
And you have to step over the cow shit to get to the water.
we got there, and I think we had planned to camp in that area that night when we were doing the Arizona Trail. And we were like, knew it was like the only water around. I think now there's like, they've put in like some like water source in between like a little stash, but it wasn't at the time. But I remember we walked up and there was 2 bulls actively standing elbow deep for them in the most brown, murky shit water. And I remember we were filtering the water and using drops because we were so paranoid as the bulls were actively crapping into the water 10 feet away. We were pulling that same water out into our like filters. And it was, I think that may have been the worst. Or one other one I could think of is I did a backpacking trip, like a winter one in the Wind River Range in Wyoming with Knowles a few years ago. Or it was like early season before summer. And like, I remember we all got a bunch of water from this, from the stream. And then we walked like 20 feet upstream, and there was like a fully killed by a grizzly bear, big male elk decaying in the water, just flowing straight into all the water we had all just like pulled out and we're kind of like drinking from. And we were like, dump your water. It was cool to see, but I remember I was pretty paranoid for a while. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, but you made it through.
I made it through.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah. Decaying animals in the water source is a rough one. I think I'll take pooping animal over decaying animal.
Oh my gosh. You know it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
What about you? What's the worst you've ever had?
I think it was probably on Pinions and Pines one year.
Ooh.
Is that coyotes?
Yeah, there's a bunch of coyotes howling in the background.
Oh, wow.
I love it.
That's awesome. Pinions and Pines one year, I was really low on water. I don't remember what part it was, but I remember it was a kind of a stagnant scum pond, and it smelled and tasted like fish.
Oh God.
You know, and I just was so thirsty, and I think I had overmixed my Tailwind, so I'd mixed Tailwind into like every water bottle that I had.
Yeah.
So all I had was Tailwind, and all I wanted was just like real water, not like sugar water. And this was the only thing, and it was just, you know, you could see the tadpoles in it, and it just was like thick with the smell and taste of fish.
Like anaerobic decomposition.
Yeah.
Wait, do you filter or do you go raw with that stuff? Do you treat your water?
Yeah, no, I just filtered it at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't treat it with like an aqua tab.
Okay, but that's fine. Like you addressed it in some way.
Yeah, I didn't just drink it straight up if that's what you're talking
I'm
about.
always fascinated because I know there are people out there who they're just like
they go for
they
it.
go for it, and
Yeah. Well, the thing about this one was I it was hard to get down just because of the smell and the like, and then I don't know, 20 minutes later there was like a flowing river, you know, that I didn't know it was gonna be there, and I was like, oh shit. Okay, well this is great, you know, like. I still had to drink that garbage water back there, but at least I get to cleanse the palate with this. So,
what would someone have to pay you to go back to that source and drink it unfiltered, untreated? Give me a real dollar amount. I love playing this game.
I don't know. It'd put like if I got something bad in my stomach, it would probably put me out of work for like. I'm trying to be rational here. It would put me out of work for probably
like I'll write you a
week,
check right
maybe.
now. Yeah, tell me.
So it'd be like a week's worth of work probably. I'd do it for $500.
Dude, that's way, oh my gosh, that's way lower than what I was going to say. I was like, oh, a week. He's going to say like,
no, I'm not saying that that's what I make at work either.
Yeah, so. no, I know, but like,
I lowered my standards in the middle of that rational conversation.
$500, that's all it takes for Dylan to go out and sample.
Yeah, what about the one with the cow shitting in it? That's a little different scenario.
I mean, I always think about this too. I'm like, I think if someone paid me, okay, I was going to say like 10K, because I do think like, well, if I got like a parasite and I need to, cover this, I'm like, well, like I'd actually lower it. Like, I think I'd probably do it for like unfiltered, probably like, wouldn't even blink at $5,000. I'd be like, yep, let me get in there. Let me get a good glass of this. Like
chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk with fish.
I don't know if you're going to find anybody to pay you $5,000 to do that. I think you're going to, this is capitalism, baby.
Yeah.
You're going to need to lower your.
No, I mean, I just like, I don't know. It's what I always think of. Like when I get to something like absolutely disgusting or too hard, like when I've done like a huge like event or race or ride, my buddy would always be like, how much would someone have to pay you right now to go back out and ride it again?
Yeah.
And like after Gunny Loop, right? Yeah, you said your feet were swollen. How much would someone have to pay you? Like the moment you rolled in, they're like, we'll give you 10 minutes. And then you have to go back out and ride the whole thing all over again.
Like do it in the opposite direction.
Do it in the opposite direction.
Yo-yo it.
We'll write you a check right now. What would it have been? Yeah, but you got to carry your wet shoes. Like, you're just going with what you got.
I'm a pretty frugal person.
Yeah.
So, like, a small amount of money can go a long ways in my brain,
Respect.
I'd probably do it for $1,500.
Nice.
Go back and do the other way.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah. I mean, I'd pull out of that. At first, it would be like, oh, I got to do it again now. And then you just kind of get back in the groove. You'd be like, oh, I'm fine. I just ate some food. I can go back to Crested Butte and not botch the resupply like I did. I botched it so bad, dude.
What happened?
It just was fucking overwhelming. Like had my brain rattled for the last 30 something hours and I had not slept in 40. And you drop into Crested Butte Mountain Resort and there's a festival going on and it's like a rave basically. And you're just like, and all I had eaten was carbs gels, like the gels for 30 hours. I had one every hour for 30 hours. It was a bad idea. I should have brought real food and I didn't. I was trying something new.
Did you have a bowel movement during that time?
No.
Whoa.
No, I mean,
I was going to be like, go in gel, come out gel.
No, they're just like, there's like nothing to them. They're like sugar. They just go straight into your muscles and you make nothing in your stomach.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're nothing in your digestive
Full disclosure,
system.
I've never had a gel in my life.
Really?
So, yeah. So this is like, I'm like fascinated here.
Yeah. I've been experimenting with doing like only gels, like for extended lengths of time, like a 40-hour put. Like I brought 38 gels.
Wow.
Like gel, like a gel pouch.
Yeah.
I brought 38 of those from the start.
Would you do it again?
No, not on that.
Yeah.
It was a bad call. It was too heavy at the beginning.
Oh, okay. Oh, fascinating.
It wasn't a very good like calorie to weight ratio.
Okay.
Like I got destroyed that first day because I was lugging 38 gels around, you know, because I think powder is probably more, it's a better ratio because you're not carrying the liquid, you know, the liquid is heavy.
Oh yeah, you don't have that like solvent in there.
Yeah. So anyway, I dropped into Crested Butte and all I wanted was real food. And I got to the mountain town resort and it was like every rich dentist with their $10,000 mountain bike, you know, and I'm just like totally thrashed, just fucked up. And I can't really make good executive functioning decisions on what I need to do or where I need to go. And the route takes you like right through the middle of where this festival was. And there's like tents and music and people running all in front of you. And it's like chaos, you know?
Yeah.
And you're just like trail light, you know, you're just like, you're so like tunnel vision for so long. And then you drop into these places with chaos and it's just so overwhelming for me. So I continued through that, and then I was like, okay, well, you have to get down to like the town of Crested Butte. Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't.
Okay, this was also my first time, so it was like kind of foreign to me. I didn't know where anything was. I didn't know if there was going to be like a Maverick or a Circle K.
Is it a high-end town? Or?
Yes.
Okay, that's
very,
what I was thinking.
Very rich,
Okay.
very lots of money, lots of money. So there's like the mountain resort, and then there's the main town. And so you had to ride another half hour to get to the town where like all the food was. And so I got down to the food and I went onto the main street that had, you know, all the pita place and the pizza place. And there was like an outdoor farmer's market type thing happening where they had the street closed off and there was just like people everywhere, walking everywhere. And every restaurant was like overflowing with people, you know, and I'm just like, I know at this point I'm in second place and I know the third and the fourth place guy are like an hour and a half, 2 hours behind me maybe.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make it efficient and keep it on the rails. And I'm like just striking out. Like I walk into the pita place and I stare at the menu and then I just like walk out because I don't know what to do. Like I'm like seizing up. It's, you know, and then I go to the pizza place and I'm like, can I order a pizza for takeout? And they're like, you have to go up to the hostess and you got to do this and that. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I just want to. Where's the Circle K where I can just walk in and just, I know I have like an order of operations at Circle K, you know?
Yeah.
They had no gas stations.
Whoa. That's
no like convenience stores.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing.
High end.
And so I ended up at the grocery store, the only grocery store in town. And I go to the deli and there was a large pizza, pepperoni pizza at the deli. And I'm like, I'm going to buy that whole thing. But I have to wait like 15 minutes for the deli lady to make a custom sandwich for someone.
Yeah.
She was just like putting the pickles on and then like putting the cucumbers on and like the line's getting bigger. And then I'm like, fine, I'll just fucking go use the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom and they're closed for cleaning, you know? So
Classic.
Can't use the bathroom, can't like clean all the salt off my face.
Dylan's face during this story is like, I can see the emotion.
Dude, I was so over it. And so I finally just have patience and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to wait for the lady and the pizza and the sandwich. And so she does it. She does the thing. I finally get the pizza and then she gives me the pizza box and then like the pizza box doesn't close. It just keeps like popping open on its own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to fit the pizza box in the little cart thing. And it's just shit show, dude. The whole thing was a total shit show. And I finally get outside and I eat a couple pieces of pizza and there's like a girl next to me that's like doing detachment training with her dog, right? So she's got her dog by the picnic table and then she keeps like going her like out of sight around the corner.
Oh.
And her dog's like freaks out when she leaves. And she comes back and is like, oh, it's okay. And gives him a treat. And this was all this was all happening while I'm like just trying to just not spiral, you know? And I got some food and then I started to kind of come back to life after that when I like shoved pizza in my mouth. And then I'd take my shoes off and try to dry my socks out and get my feet sorted out because they were just like pre-trench foot sort of condition,
Ooh.
you know, because they had been wet and cold for like 26 or 28 hours or something and they just hadn't dried out. And I mean, they were just totally white and nasty looking, and it looked bad.
Apparently, Dylan has a photo of his feet we're going to take a look at after this. Perhaps it will even be posted to social media. That's just my end saying that. We'll see.
I'll put it up on the podcast.
I'm really interested to see this. Yeah.
Because long story short, they swelled up worse than I'd have had my feet ever swell up before. I mean, they were like ballooned up when I was done, like a couple days later, right? The edema was ridiculous. Like they were straight cankle mode. Yeah. And I think it was the cold and the elevation is what did it. So, anyway, that was a not good, dude. And it's hard to get good at resupply when you're like completely just shattered like that. Like I can't seem to get, I don't know. I have my zone in Maverick and that's like, I'm good on back to a Fierce Green ride.
Yeah.
There's a Circle K in, the first resupply stop in what's the town called?
Well, there's Greer, but then there's Springerville.
Oh yeah. There's 2 Circle Ks in Springerville. Oh yeah. So I got those. There's a 24-hour one too. So I got those good to go there. It's Alpine and Big Lake that I'm worried about.
There's a gas station. It's not one of the chain brands of gas stations, but there is a gas station / general store, Alpine, and it's a pretty solid place. So
really?
If you're just looking for there's like the little general store in town, and then there's like, gosh, I want to say it's like something tackle, Alpine tackle, or some general store or something. But it's a gas station type of.
But limited hours.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah. All right, let's do the last rapid fire question here, and wrap this up. So, one piece of advice you'd give a new endurance athlete, or a new bikepacker.
No, let's go with new bikepacker. I would say go whatever speed you want to go. Make sure I have this I guess I don't know what you call those, like mottos that you tell yourself in the backcountry. But this motto is, if it feels like work, you're working too hard. And if you're getting into this for the first time and you're hating the experience, you're working too hard. Slow down, eat a snack, take a 0 out of town. Don't quit on a bad day. Quit on a good day. So you quit on a good day, you can own it. But if you quit on a bad day, you will always be haunted by the what if about whether you could have powered through. So slow down and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, dude, that is so true. It never leaves. It haunts you forever, dude.
Absolutely. Oh, I've quit routes and I can tell you all I want to do is go back out and do them again.
Yep. I've had things last years and I've gone back out like 3 years later to get redemption.
Absolutely. And you just evaluate yourself the whole time. Like, where did I mess up? Like, I could have easily pushed through that. Oh my God, I feel so much more experienced now. I was such a noob. Like, there's so many things you tell yourself.
Yeah. That's excellent advice, Forrest. All right. People can find you. We mentioned it earlier. Your Instagram, The Forest Biome, at The Forest Biome.
At The Forest Biome.
2 R's.
2 R's like Forrest Gump.
You're just owning that.
Yeah.
Your website, theforestbiome.com. Also, you have a Instagram for El Lobo Lupus. It's L Lobo Lupus, Lupus. You also have an Instagram for Capes of the Canyon, at Capes of the Canyon. Is that it?
Yeah. I mean, there's other routes I made socials for, but those are kind of, if you're looking at a Fierce Green ride, take a look at the at l.lobo.lupus. And if you are interested in checking out some riding around the Grand Canyon, Capes of the Canyon.
And the last thing I forgot, I want to give you this. Oh. It's your Embark kit.
The whole thing?
Yeah, it's all yours,
Bro,
dude.
Do you see all this, everyone?
Yeah, Squirrel's Nut Butter.
Oh, my God.
Some samples in there. And
What?
Embark. They're both podcast sponsors.
Dude.
So enjoy that stuff. Oh,
this is sick.
One last rapid fire question, food related. Yeah. Your favorite backcountry recipe?
Oh, totally. Without a doubt, the best dinner. And this takes some inspiration from Andrew Skirka, who's a big ultralight backpacker who really kind of helped set the bar for a lot of modern ultralighting out there. But he has what he calls the Skirka beans and rice, or tacos, beans and rice. Anyways, it's my own take on it, but it's just some minute rice that I cold soak, rehydrate with some dehydrated beans, and then I throw in like Fritos chips and I mash it all up. And I always carry with me a little canister of taco seasoning, because you can put taco seasoning on anything. It just ups the flavor, and I mix that shit up, and it is so salty and so delicious after a long day. It's like I can eat that like every night in the backcountry and just have a smile on my face.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me, Dylan.
Yeah, dude, you definitely have to come back.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. You know what? After you do the race, we should do like
we'll do a recap.
Yeah, we'll do a recap. I love it.
Me, you, and Dana.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Yeah. All right, Forrest. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, thanks so much, Dylan.
All right.